question. Are you strong enough? She doesn't know the answer yet. But they will tear it from her mouth.
I've been streaming Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice on my gaming channel, and I have to admit, the story is compelling for various reasons. However, while streaming, one of my viewers mentioned the complex discourse about there not being any strong female characters in video games. I said, I don't know what they're talking about. Senua is a strong female character in a video game that literally deals with psychosis in real time. And he agreed. The reason I say this, I'm like, Senua's Sacrifice is a much older game. But I understand why that was mentioned in the chat. We're taking in how rich Senua's story is as I play through the game, as she's a fixed female protagonist and she was well crafted. She's a well written character within a rich story of overcoming mental health issues, especially after losing her lover Dillion in a brutal massacre of her tribe. Nothing's left of her tribe. She's the only one left. She's all alone. When people keep saying there are no strong female characters in video games, that's not actually what the discourse is about. It's a layered problem regarding representation, writing quality, cultural power, and who gets to be visible. We live in a male-dominated world where the majority of gamers are male versus female. And a lot of video games are made with a male protagonist in mind to cater to the male consumer. Therefore, we have a minimal number of fixed female protagonists in video games, especially in action-oriented games. I'm not counting the customizable avatars that some games offer because they're considered a blank slate. They don't carry the weight of representation because the story doesn't treat them as women. It treats them as an avatar to play. The real issue is that we need more fixed narrative female protagonists in video games, particularly in action games because they're a lot more fun. There are narrative-driven games such as the Life is Strange franchise that have fixed, strong female protagonists, Chloe Price, Max Caulfield, and Alex Chen as some examples. And yes, we do have action-based female protagonists, Aloy from the Horizon games, Senua from Hellblade, who I'm playing at the moment, Ellie and Abby from The Last of Us, Jill Valentine and Claire Redfield from the earlier Resident Evil games. We also have Lara Croft, and as of recently, Grace Ashcroft from Resident Evil Requiem. I mean, if you want to add her in, Rosemary Winters from the Resident Evil Village Winter expansion is another one. These characters are written with a worldview, a history, a psychology, and a narrative arc. They are given a gendered experience being female protagonists in video games. Now, streaming Hellblade reminded me, female strength isn't one-dimensional. It is psychological, even mythic, strategic, and not just physical. Physicality is the last prioritized aspect of a female strength, okay? Now, let's get into the 3 discourses that keep getting merged together into a pile of mess, okay? The first one is the representation argument. There are fewer female protagonists overall, especially fewer fixed narrative-driven ones. There are more customizable avatars, but they don't count because they are not representation. Most industries have a risk aversion that keeps male leads dominant, whether in games, film, or TV. The second one is the strong female character trope. Women are often written as overly stoic, trauma-heavy, or the emotionless badass archetypes, or the cool girl, basically. They're written through the male gaze, treated as an object to fulfill desire. There's too much focus on physical strength over psychological depth here. We need more well-written female protagonists who prioritize psychological depth over physical strength. A female can be physically strong, but her motivation must be front and center. And now for the third one. Oh my god, this one is going to be a doozy, okay? This is about the bad faith gamer take, okay? Some people say female characters are forced diversity. That statement is sexism, plain and simple. When women say it, it's internalized misogyny. We call them pick-me's. Or they say she's unrealistic. Still, that's sexism. These people just hate women. They have no concept of fiction and function on biased ideas about women that aren't rooted in truth. You'd be surprised how people project biases on sapphic characters too, misunderstanding representation, censorship, and regional storytelling limits, because we had the Hays Code here in the United States that prevented us to write queer characters, gay characters. There's also gatekeeping disguised as critique, usually from people who don't play narrative games at all, but it's rooted in discomfort with women taking up narrative spaces. They don't like women taking up narrative spaces, okay? Now, let's discuss something fundamentally important. Strength as a spectrum, okay? How I view female characters is a spectrum. Who knows more about being female than one herself? The psychological framework of a female functions differently than the male counterpart. Strength isn't just physical, it's emotional, it's strategic, it's psychological, and even mythic. It's about overcoming things internally, not just prevailing outwardly, because that's how we were taught. We were taught to introspect more and deal with our feelings more inward instead of going outward. But some games flatten that spectrum because they're still written through a masculine framework. Now, what better example of this argument than The Last of Us live-action adaptation? The Last of Us series weakened many of its female characters in the TV adaptation. It's hard not to see the misogyny behind the creative decisions. Men given rights to stories who desire women to be a certain way is kind of the problem. It's obvious through podcasts and commentary that they favored the actress who played Dina, and I can see that they rewrote the character to match her personality, but in doing so, they flattened Ellie's character and they practically erased Dina's character in the game entirely as well, because Dina doesn't act that way. It's the same issue across media. Games, film, TV, different mediums, same problem. I did mention the spectrum of female strengths, so I'm going to put it like this into archetypes. So there is the survivor. The best examples for this is Ellie, Jill Valentine, and Claire Redfield. Their strength is through endurance. Their trauma doesn't erase softness. And of course, they represent emotional literacy as power. So, and then there's the strategist. Perfect examples for this is Aloy from Horizon and Max Caulfield as well from Life is Strange. Their strength is through intelligence, intuition, and choice. They are navigating systems, not overpowering them. Now there's the mythic warrior. Senua is the best example of this since I'm playing her at this moment. Her strength is tied to cosmology, identity, and internal trials. Her psychological landscape is her battlefield. We follow her grief, her perseverance, her mythic journey through Helheim to save her lover's soul. Senua's vulnerability is part of her myth. She's by far the strongest character I've played, battling psychosis throughout the game. It's heartbreaking, but it's hopeful as well. Then we have the monster or the other. Abby and Lady Demetress are really good examples of this archetype. Their strength challenges beauty norms, okay? Their bodies itself, because you all know Abby's body type and Lady Demetress' body type. It's obvious. Their bodies disrupt the male gaze. And not only that, these are powerful women. And these powerful women can make people uncomfortable. Abby's body image is her motivator. Revenge through discipline and fire. That fire in her. She trained herself to crush anyone under her boot. She doesn't just look strong. She is strong and very capable through focused training to be that way. We also have the emotional anchor. This is Chloe Price. Her strength is through connection. Her defining trait is loyalty. She displays grief and moral complexity in the Life is Strange games. She's not passive, and she's an emotional catalyst. Seeing her again in Life is Strange Reunion was such a treat. But the point I'm making is strength is not one shape. It's very complex. Okay, it's time to address the elephant in the room. There's an industry problem. There are not enough fixed female protagonists when it comes to video games. And why is it a problem? Because they matter. Representation matters. Customizable avatars are not representation. They are just gender-neutral templates with stories that don't treat them as women. They don't carry cultural weight or challenge norms. They, in fact, avoid them. So, fixed female protagonists carry narrative power. Why is that? They have inner worlds. They have gender experiences. They shift culture because they're authored and not an optional thing. They force the industry to write women as people and not as a skin. As skins, okay? Now, I don't know why studios avoid them, but we can definitely speculate. Of course, it's a market risk because it's a male-dominated space. Gaming is a male-dominated space still. There's also the fear of backlash. There's also misunderstanding what players actually want. But representation does require authorship. But authorship that understands the female experience and how complex they are, especially when it comes to strength. The cultural backlash pattern I've seen, and it's predictable now. A female protagonist is announced in a game. Male gamers complain she's unrealistic. They hyper-focus on appearance. They accuse studios of forced diversity. It's sexism, and not only that, it's racism at its finest. The discourse turns toxic, and the character becomes a symbol of bullshit arguments instead of a person. That's why Abby, Aloy, Ellie, and Senua matter. They're fixed female representation that hold cultural weight. They're made for me, okay? I am a female. I'm just making fun of this, okay? So, female strength is not about domination. It's about endurance, clarity, strategy, and emotional truth. Games that understand this Hellblade, Life is Strange, The Last of Us feel different because they treat women as layered beings with fleshed out inner worlds. We need more of that. More authored women, more fixed female protagonists, more stories that let women be complicated and oppose misconception about women as a whole, even queer women. There's a whole misconception about that too. Those who have made it to this point in the video, you're amazing. I'm surprised you put up with me. If you so desire, please share your favorite female protagonists in video games and tell me why in the comments below. But either way, thank you for watching.